racist Trump's America, so a gang of violent white teens were caught on video yelling racial slurs.
All right, so people probably was like, "Oh man, you a race baiter, man. You got YT friends. How you acting like this?" Look, I'll tell y'all a story. So once upon a time, I had a YT friend, right? We're still friends. Actually, he was my welder. This isn't the same guy who built my truck. This was a separate welder. He straight up told me he was basically discussing with his other friends about going up to a cabin trip, right, to go see his uncle. And now me and this dude, we was cool, man. I gave him a flag from the military that was flown in Afghanistan. He did a bunch of free welding for me. We were tight. And he straight up told me, he was like, "Man, I can't take you to the cabin thing. I'm sorry." I said, "Why?" He said, "I wouldn't be able to guarantee your safety." Not because he's a racist, because dude did free welding, came to my house and touched up stuff. He's the one who welded the seat brackets into my excursion. Real cool dude. We ate food together. You know, his kids were able to play with me, all of that. But because he straight up said the truth, he's like, "I can't guarantee your safety." Meaning that he has a family member up in that cabin that is so racist that he couldn't guarantee that I'd make it out alive. Now, this is an honest friend. You have a lot of friends who would have just invited me like, "Oh yeah, come on," because they would have been uncomfortable saying no. I respected his honesty, but he was a veteran too, so we have that honesty level. I had another troop that worked for me. He lives in Texas. When I first got this troop, he was racist. He was like, I remember I was giving him orders, and he's like, I'm not going to take orders from no N-word. Now, the average soldier, the average sergeant would have turned him into EO. Instead, I handed him off to a YT supervisor named Sergeant Assman. And Sergeant Assman drove that boy so hard that he came back 3 months later begging to work for me again. That was our remedy for that. Now, when I say stay away from these people, here it is. My own friend, my own welder was like, "Yo, don't follow me here because it ain't going to go well for you." You know, not all of them are that honest, but they know. There are some YT people who know if they honest with you, they'll tell you, "Look, man, you can't come to this gathering. You can't." Now, there's nowhere they can't go. You know, I could have invited him to any cookout with any family member and he would have left safely and with a full belly. When I say stay away from these people, right now, there's a group of these people, like that fella's uncle. I guarantee if that fella's uncle, I couldn't go there before. This was about 5 years ago. I guarantee today, that uncle is 1,000 times worse than he was 5 years ago. Meaning if I asked that friend today, could I go to the cabin? He'd be like, "Hell fucking no. No, sir, no." Like that uncle probably at this point is salivating to do some harm to somebody that looked like me. And they know, the YT people know, they be lying when they be like, they know damn well they got somebody in their family that would skin me alive and put me in a boil, put me up in a tree. Or they know. I just happen to have friends honest enough I had another friend. He goes fishing all the time. I was like, "Yo, Brad, I always wanted to learn how to go fishing." This was back when I lived in Arizona. He was honest with me. He was like, "Man, I don't think my other friends would be cool with that." I automatically knew what he meant. He was saying, "Bro, me and you cool, but they won't be cool with you. Not because you're not cool, because obviously we hanging out, but because they're not cool with you." Now, think about if my YT friends were not ex-military, not brutally honest. One of them would have said, "Yeah, come to the cabin." I probably wouldn't have made it home. Another one, "Yeah, come fishing." I probably would have got thrown overboard. Thank goodness I swim like a fish. I'm the one melanated dude on the planet that can swim like Michael Phelps. And that's my dad's fault. When I was a kid, I wanted to learn how to swim, so he just threw my ass in the pool and left me. He literally walked away and smoked a cigarette. And I had to figure out how to get from the deep end to the shallow end without dying. So after that, I swam like a fish. I could backstroke, float, all of that. I swim like a Navy SEAL. I can go from island to island without a cramp. I'm a phenomenal swimmer. But back to the story. So you see this incident, this little young melanated boy probably went with one of his friends. One of the dudes in the group probably wasn't uncool. He was probably like, "Yeah, we're all going to be hanging out. Come on." And the other friends, the uncle, the guys who wouldn't like me, was like, "Yo, why'd you bring the N-word?" Probably a secret little whisper. "Why'd you bring this N-word? Dude, he's cool, man." And then all of the friends started engaging in some racist shit. And the other friend felt helpless to stand between it because he didn't want to break his primary friend group. So he joined in. And now they're trying to put a young man in a meat grinder. Do you know what hamburger meat looked like? A meat grinder would turn you into hamburger meat. That's not a small joke. That literally is an excruciating way to go. That's like throwing somebody in a wood chipper. So when I say stay away from these people, I'm not playing with you. I mean it. Stay the fuck away from these people. Because I was blessed, because the creator looks out for me, to have YT friends who were honest. Like, bro, if you come to this cabin, you might not ever go home. Bro, if you go fishing, you might be at the bottom of the lake. Don't join me. But not all of them are going to be willing to tell you that, because not all of us can take the truth. I'm thankful to those friends. That's why I still rock with them. I still F with them, because I know for a fact if danger ever came, I know if they ever had to choose sides, they're going to choose their side. Let's say there was a racial war in America, right? And those same friends had to choose sides. One thing I will give them credit for is if I showed up and they was like, bro, they would tell me straight, bro, I can't hide you here. I can't hide you here. I got a family, man. You got to find somewhere else to go. They're not going to do harm to me, but they're not going to let me squat. And they would tell me that straight up to keep me from getting my hopes up. Like, oh, I got YT friends that got pew-pews and off-road vehicles I can go tuck with. They would straight up tell me, bro, you know, they might even throw me something like, here, bro, here's a couple dollars, man. Get out of here. Don't be out here after dark. You know, I give them props for that. But at the end of the day, they can't truly be my friend, because a true friend could go with you to the cabin. A true friend can go with you to the fishing boat. You know what I'm saying? They respect me enough to tell me the truth. But in this young man's situation, parents, stop this shit, man. Y'all spending too much time on social media not talking to your kids. Stop telling your kids they can just have any kind of friends. You're going to have that hard conversation. You're going to have to sit down and say, look, Tonquavius, look, Shaniqua, I know you like Sarah and Susan and them, but people going to slumber parties and ain't coming back breathing, including adults. People going to gatherings and they trying to throw them in meat grinders. People going swimming and ending up at the bottom of Lake Lanier. You can hang with little Sarah and Susie at public places. Y'all can go to the movies. Y'all can go to the mall. Y'all can go to the arcade if they still do that. But slumber parties, spending the night, going to cabins, going to camps, all of that where it's isolated, just you and them, you can't engage in that. It ain't because we don't like them. It's because we love you. Get your asses off the internet, parent your kids before you find them in pieces. Anyway, I'm out. Shalom, shalom.